Our scripture reading this morning as we continue our study in Glory and Tribulation is from Daniel chapter 3, page 597 in the Bible in the pew if you'd like to follow along, 597. And I'm torn about how to do this because I could say, you all know this story, and then we just go on. Or I read it because it's awesome. And even though Donna just ran off, it's still an awesome story. So I'm going to read the whole thing and just enjoy it. Nebuchadnezzar the king made an image of gold whose height was 90 feet. That's what 60 cubits are. And its width 9 feet. He set it up in the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. And King Nebuchadnezzar sent word to everybody in the government to come to the dedication of the image which King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. So everybody came to the dedication of the image that he had set up. And they stood before the image that he had set up. Then a herald cried out. Is that you here? Herald, right? No. Oh, it's not Herald. He's just here. Okay, so it's not here. Then a herald cried aloud, "To you it is commanded, O peoples, nations, and languages, that at the time you hear the sound of the horn, flute, harp, lyre, and psaltery, and symphony with all kinds of music, you shall fall down and worship the gold image that King Nebuchadnezzar has set up. And whoever does not fall down and worship shall be cast immediately into the midst of a burning fiery furnace." So at that time, when all the people heard all the music, they fell down and worshipped the gold image that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Therefore at that time certain Chaldeans came forward and accused the Jews. They spoke and said to King Nebuchadnezzar, "O king, live forever." Now that's just a standard greeting when you talk to the king, so it's not fancy. "You, O king, have made a decree that anyone who hears the sound of music shall fall down and worship the gold image, and whoever does not fall down and worship shall be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. There are certain Jews whom you have set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not paid the due regard to you. They do not serve your gods or worship the gold image which you have set up." Then Nebuchadnezzar, in rage and fury, gave the command to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So they brought these men before the king. And Nebuchadnezzar spoke and said to them, "Is it true that you do not serve my gods or worship the gold image which I have set up? Now if you are ready, when you hear music, you fall down and worship the image which I have made, good. But if you do not worship, you shall be cast immediately into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. And who is the God who shall deliver you from my hand?" Why, some kind of challenge. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, "O Nebuchadnezzar." In the King James it says, "We are not careful to answer you in this." In other words, they're not playing political games. They said, "If it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us from your hand, O king." There's an answer to your challenge. "But if not, let it be known to you, O king, that we do not serve your gods, nor will we worship the gold image which you have set up." Then Nebuchadnezzar was full of fury, and the expression on his face changed toward Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He spoke and commanded that they heat the furnace 7 times more than it was usually heated. And he commanded certain mighty men of valor who were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then these men were bound in their coats, trousers, turbans, other garments, and cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king's command was urgent, and the furnace exceedingly hot, the flame of the fire killed those men who took them up and threw them in. These 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Then King Nebuchadnezzar was astonished, and he rose in haste and spoke, saying to his counselors, "Didn't we cast 3 men into the midst of the fire?" "Oh, true, O king." see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they are not hurt. And the form of the fourth is like the Son of God. Then Nebuchadnezzar went near the mouth of the burning fiery furnace and spoke, saying, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come on out, come here. So they came out. And all the government officials saw these men on whose bodies the fire had no power. The hair of their head was not singed, nor were their garments affected, and the smell of fire was not on them. Nebuchadnezzar spoke, saying, Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who sent his angel and delivered his servants who trusted in him. And they have frustrated the king's word and yielded their bodies, that they should not serve or worship any god except their own God. Therefore I make a decree that any people, nation, or language which speaks anything amiss against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces, and their houses shall be made an ash heap, because there is no other God who can deliver like this. Then he promoted them in the province of Babylon. Let's pray. Father, I thank you for this amazing story that you share with us. Help us to see and understand some things from it that make a difference in our lives. We ask in Jesus' name. Amen. So what's up with these 3 guys? That's what we want to look at this morning. What's up with these 3 guys? An interesting biographical sketch is important to start with. As teenagers, they were hauled out of their homes, they were hauled out of their home country, and they were hauled across the globe to live in a different place for the rest of their lives. And they understood that it was the judgment of God that caused them. And then they became weirdos for the Lord's sake. When they had a chance to enjoy all the blessings of a royal living. They could eat all the stuff that the king made, and served at his table. They had nice clothes. They had a good living arrangement. But they posseed up with Daniel to become weirdos. They said, we want to follow the Lord's commands about our diet, and we don't want to eat this stuff. It took some doing, but they convinced the guy who was in charge of them to let them be vegetarians when everybody else was eating the most amazing meats that you could imagine. Buffet style. And they drank water when everybody else was drinking the best wine in the world. And you know where they sat? I'm sure the guy who's in charge said, you guys sit over there. You're going to be weirdos, sit over there. We're going to be over here and enjoy the wonderful feast that the king has set before us, and you guys just sit over there. Well, they studied hard. Turned out vegetarian diet worked all right for them. When they were tested later on, they looked better than these guys that were chowing down on the king stuff and having a little extra wine on the side. They looked better than them. But they studied hard, and when it came to their final exam, they were found to be, the Bible says, 10 times as smart as the guys, as the regular, the teachers. Because God did some stuff for them. So they were appointed to a political position, a government position in Babylon, because that king used all the talent that he could find to rule his government. So they had a lovely mansion. They had status. They had great clothes. 6-digit salary. And they had it made. But when the king said, and I'm sure this is the way it came across, all you have to do is just bow down before this little image whenever you hear music. That's all you have to do. They risked it all to say no. Now, what is with these guys? First, they lose everything that they grew up with. Then they join the weirdo club. Then when they have it made, they risk it all to say no to the king. What's with these guys? They were trying to keep the commandment that Jesus later said was the greatest commandment of all. They were trying to love God with all that they were. Whatever it meant for them. Whether it meant serving God in a foreign country, whether it meant eating crazy stuff, whether it meant risking their lives and their jobs, they were committed to loving God with all that they were. And as I thought about this story, the thing that struck me is when we think about unconditional love, which is one of the cornerstones of our faith, unconditional love. What we think of is God's love. Because God loves us no matter what. He loves us unconditionally. But Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego had unconditional love for God. We've got to think about it going the other way. We like to think that even when we let God down, He still loves us. But what about the other side? When it seems that He has let us down, do we still love Him? And I like what Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said to the king when he challenged them